Battle 1 of round 1 is done with Marneus Calgar as the victor over Raven of the Thousand Suns. Our next fight is going to be Typhus, first captain of the Death Guard, versus Kayvaan Shrike, the chapter master of the Raven Guard. This is going to be very interesting. Typhus is a very slow model, small 5-inch movements. Kayvaan Shrike is very quick, but the toughness and durability and longevity of Typhus is going to be a problem. So last battle I was wrong. I was saying that was going to go to Raven. This one I am going to say again that this is probably going to go to the traders. I'm going to say Typhus will probably take this one, but we're going to see. Marneus Calgar surprised me, and maybe Kayvaan will do the same. If Kayvaan can keep his distance and kind of keep plunking away at Typhus, that might be the way to do it here. With his jetpack and being able to fire, keeping just outside of the range of Typhus's hand-to-hand combat. Because if he gets in there with that Man Reaper scythe, it's going to be a problem. So we're going to move over to the dice tray here in just a sec, and we are going to roll to see who's going first. As per our rules, it's going to be alphabetical. So Kayvaan is going to roll first, and then Typhus, and we'll see who has the higher of the D6 rolls, and that will go first. Okay, so Kayvaan Shrike versus Typhus. This is the first roll to see who's going to be getting placed on the board first, which also means who gets the first move roll. So this is for Kayvaan. Roll the 6. This is for Typhus. Roll the 1. So Kayvaan will be going first. I'm going to set him up on the board. I've got to really strategize kind of where I want him to see where I can take the most advantage out of this field and try to get just some stealth and advantage in on Typhus. All right, so here we go. You've just seen in the dice roll tray there that Kayvaan won the dice roll, so I've placed him in where I think is probably the best positioning for him to be able to take advantage of some higher terrain. So he's down here. Typhus is over on this side here. Typhus does have, I apologize if I said he doesn't, he does have a ranged attack that's part of his psychic capability. So there is the speed from Kayvaan, but both of their shooting weapons are 18 inches. So it's very possible as they close the gap that Typhus can do some pretty big damage. We're going to move over now to the move. So Kayvaan does get to go first as he won the dice roll. And we're going to fly him out. I was thinking I'd try to get him up this tower, but it's 5 inches up and from his original spot. Not great, so I'm going to try to take the center objective with him, and then I'll have a little bit of point of view there for him. So Typhus is much slower. He moves 5 inches compared to Kayvaan's 12, but as he closes that gap, kind of like, you know, that psychopath or like serial killer in a movie, he's just going to continue to drudge along until he's got you within the range of his scythe, and that's going to be that. So we're going to continue moving here. I don't think we're in range. I'll just measure it out in case, but 18 inches and 18 inches brings Kayvaan and Typhus more than halfway across the board. So I have to be super strategic here to keep Kayvaan at least in a far enough distance to not be able to have Typhus land that attack. It's going to be tough though because they both have the exact same ranged. And Typhus's attack is much, much stronger, especially since Kayvaan has a pistol against Cataphracti Terminator armor. Not great. So what I'll try to do here is I'm going to fly him up actually onto this structure, which is where I wanted him. He's moved almost his full 12 inches, and we're going to do the first shoot here. So coming over to the dice camera. All right, so in behind the dice camera here for Kayvaan Shrike's first shoot of Battle 2, Round 1. It is Blackout, which is 18 inches. It's a pistol, 2 attacks, hitting on a 2+. And he is in range. So both are through. That's 4s. It is a strength 5 weapon versus toughness 6, however, for Typhus. So I need 5s here to wound. And neither wounded. So we have a 3 and a 1. Back over to Typhus for his move and then his shoot. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit closer here with Typhus. This is back to his movement now, and he's got that 5-inch move. I just pulled the terrain apart. There we go. So he's going to clamber towards Kayvaan. So Typhus's attack here, just so you guys are aware, is called the Eater Plague. So very similar to Ariman's actually. In your shooting phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to this Psyker. Roll 1d6. On a 1, the Psyker's unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So that is 2 Typhus. And then on a 2 to 5, that enemy unit suffers d6 mortal wounds. So Kayvaan Shrike does have an invulnerable save, but that is not going to matter since it is a mortal wound. And then on a 6, that enemy unit suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds. So a little different readout than Ryman's, but still very close. So we are going to roll here. Okay, so we are now doing Typhus's shoot. This is the Eater Plague. So he does not want a 1. Anything else is good to go. And he rolled a 5. So the enemy unit suffers d6 mortal wounds. This is going to be the roll to see how many wounds Kayvaan is actually going to be taking. Kayvaan has 5 wounds, so if this is a 5 or a 6, Kayvaan is dead and Typhus wins this match. It is a 4. So we have Kayvaan down to 1 wound after that first shoot by Typhus. So we just saw the shoot phase from Typhus there. Very, very devastating. I think that's going to even come into play against enemies like Abaddon or anything that has an invulnerable save. Because in the future of this tournament, there are going to be allies fighting allies and enemies fighting enemies. It's just the way it's going to be. So Typhus versus Abaddon might actually be a really good scrap. And with that ability that he has, as well as some of his other abilities, it might be a very, very good fight. So we are back over to Kayvaan Shrike. He has 1 wound remaining, but we saw from the last fight, Marneus Calgar had 1 wound and was actually able to finish a Ryman. So back to Kayvaan's very quick ability. He's going to fly off of here and try to remain in that 18 inches. Just going to see. It's not going to really matter though, because Typhus can still do his thing. So Kayvaan is within that 18 inches. We are going to be doing a shoot with Blackout again. Okay, so in behind the dice camera here for Kayvaan's shoot, this is Blackout. 2 attacks. Kayvaan has 1 wound left, so he's got to do something here to Typhus or he's going to be in a lot of trouble. So 2 pluses here for his hit. So 4 and a 2 were good, both hit. The wound, however, is going to be a 5 roll, and neither of them did it. So that is not good. He really needed that. Okay, so we're back over here. It's now Typhus's movement turn. He's going to be moving 5 inches up close. It's not going to really help with any kind of additional roll bonus or anything, but he just wants to get a little bit closer to really finish off Kayvaan. So we are going to be doing his ability again, which is the Eater Plague, his psychic attack. Last time it did 4 wounds to Kayvaan. This time we're going to see, however, if he hurts himself. So back to the dice camera. So this is Typhus's Eater Plague shooting attack against Kayvaan Shrike, who has 1 wound remaining. If it is a 1 here, then the Psyker's unit, which is Typhus, is going to suffer those D3 mortal wounds. So we're hoping for a 1 here for Kayvaan Shrike, and we're hoping for anything higher than that for Typhus. And he got a 6. That's the end of Kayvaan, but let's see how much damage is actually done. So it's D3 plus 3 mortal wounds on the roll of a 6. So this is for how many wounds are actually going to happen. So it is 2, since that is split in half, plus 3, so 5 wounds. That attack alone would have finished off Kayvaan right off the bat. So Kayvaan has lost in the second battle of round 1, and Typhus will be moving on to take on Marneus Calgar. And there is our second victor. It is Typhus, the first captain of the Death Guard. He will be taking on Marneus Calgar in round 2. That's going to be a good fight. I'm worried, though, with that ability that he has, that Marneus is also not going to stand a chance, since that's going to slice through just about anything. But we'll see. They both move a little bit slower, too, so they might be able to get some range going there or something. We'll have to see, but that's going to be a very interesting fight. And now we move on to the third battle of the first round, which is Abaddon the Despoiler versus Adrax Agatoni.